So, Derby won, Pompey won. And it's now 10 to 5, straight after the game. And it was all right, wasn't it? I mean, it's a shame we couldn't have scored second and scored a fantastic goal, because it was a fantastic goal, second, because you feel so much more I'm outside with a Peroni. And you feel so much better if it's a 1-1 draw. You got the second goal, the equaliser. But, we'll take it. You would have taken 1-1. You would have taken a point. We would have taken a point. Everyone would have taken a point. It's a long way up there. It's bleak. Ever been to Derby? I've only been there once. We were going in a coach to watch an away game at somewhere like Barnsley or Sheffield, I can't remember. And we were about 2 hours shy of where we were going when the coach driver said, "We've just had an announcement on the BBC, your game is off. What do you want to do?" So there was a vote, and I wanted to turn around and come home, but I lost. And the majority vote was we went to Derby to watch Derby versus Aston Villa. And I just couldn't see the point. You know, you're paying your money, you're watching two teams that you don't care at all about. But nevertheless, I went to the old baseball ground, which was a huge, vast slab of mud. Obviously, things are a lot better now, and they've come along as far as that goes. They still don't quite know how to do business. One of the interesting things that I did hear Andrew Moon say during the game is that they bought a guy. They had a guy who was bought by Sheffield United from Liverpool for 23 million quid. Brewster. Did you see him? He was okay. But Derby got him for nothing. So you're Sheffield United, you spent £23 million on a player who, at the end of the contract, is worth nothing. And I remember hearing that and thinking, that's exactly the kind of business that we don't want to be doing. And there's plenty of it out there. For a variety of reasons, and I'm not talking about corruption, or am I? That I don't want to go into. Back to the game. What a goal. 5 minutes, 6 minutes gone. What a goal. I mean, Murphy's assists are not just like, you know, slamming it into the box in the hope that somebody gets onto the end of it. He's now picking people out. Maybe he's been picking people out for a long time. But he picked out Lang, and then Lang did what Lang did. Now, I'm not sure, and you're not sure, whether there was a deflection in his final shot. But that doesn't matter, because the expertise that he showed, the skill, the determination to go this way and then that way and then take a guy out and then go this way and that way and take another guy out. One of those shoulder dips was pure, you know, black and white football, Garincha, Stanley Matthews, the sort of thing that wingers used to do, dip their shoulder, send the guy the other way. Lang did it. And he got his shot in with his left foot, and it went in the net. And didn't he enjoy it? What a celebration. The old thumbs in the ears and the fingers waggling. We still don't quite know what that means, or do you? If you do, please, radiopompey@gmail.com. I don't know what it means. And then all the Pompey outfield players came to congratulate him, which is professional. It's what they do. You do that in order to just milk the moment against your opposition. We've scored against you. You can't kick off until we've done all our celebrations, hugged everybody, chatted, and walked slowly back to the halfway line. Everybody does it. They ought to put a clock on it, frankly, unless, of course, it's us that scored. And then, anyway, so that happened, and then he jumped back onto the hoarding, standing on the hoarding, whipping up the Pompey faithful, because he was right by them, and they were right by him, and he was doing the old thumbs in the ears and the wiggling of the fingers, which nobody was doing back at him. I think he hopes it's going to become some kind of a trademark thing. If you go on scoring goals like that, fella, then we're going to do anything you want by way of a personalised goal celebration. We'll give it back to you. Just keep doing it. Bizarre and obscure though it is. So we now want 1-0 up. And we'd been playing well, hadn't we? And we carried on playing well into the 25th minute when Derby began to realise the crowd were getting on their back. They began to realise they were going to have to do something. So they started becoming a little bit more aggressive. They're not a good side. Sorry, no offence to their head coach, Eustace. They're not a good side. They're not a well-organised side, I don't think. They're not particularly aggressive or quick or skillful or imposing. They have a 6'4", 6'5" front man called Ajimang, who began by giving Matthews a little bit of a hard time, but Matthews ended up coping with him really well. Not just on the ground, where Ajimang was a little bit clumsy, a little bit heavy-footed. You know, he didn't have much finesse on the ground. But when you have that kind of physical presence, you don't really need to learn finesse, because you can bully your way into goal-scoring opportunities and conversions. But Matthews seemed, to me, to gradually get on top of him and took it on. He was happy to do it. He wanted the combat. They realised that Ajimang was actually going a little bit wide down the left. And when at half-time or 60 minutes, Pompey went to 3 at the back and chucked Devlin forward looking for a winning goal, Matthews quite happily went out wide a little bit on our right, their left, and dealt with Ajimang, who was a handful, proper handful. They didn't have an awful lot to offer besides that. We had some much better players on the pitch. Lang was eye-catching. Obviously, Murphy was special. The assist that he did to provide the goal was, top-notch. 100% Premier League, I would say. Premier League. So, well done him. And then we're a goal up, and then half-time comes along. We make a substitution we wouldn't want to have made, which was to bring off Josh Murphy. Now, there's still no news. It's not yet 5 o'clock in the afternoon after the game. So, of course, there is no news about Murphy and whether it's an injury that he's going to be able to walk off and be ready in 5 to 7 days. So fingers crossed on that one, because he's obviously that important to us. He'd be that important to any side in the Championship, but he's ours and he's that important to us. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Wasn't it good to see Colby Bishop get back doing what Colby Bishop does so well? Okay, he didn't score, but his hold-up play, which is such an important dimension, especially when we have to play the ball back to the keeper, which we do, of course, from time to time to retain possession. And then we have the option of playing it out from the back or looking for a target man 60 yards away. And Schmidt's kicking is so fast and accurate that it gives Bishop every chance to do what he does so well, which is to collect the ball, not just get the first contact on it and flick it, almost anywhere. He actually has a chance to collect the ball and keep it, and he does it time and time again. Really good performance, I thought. Didn't you? From Colby Bishop. Lots of players took the eye. Terry Devlin took the eye. He no offence, but physically he looks like a League Two player. But in terms of what he achieves and the class with which he does what he achieves, he's borderline Premier League. For sure. So he was great. Dazelle is just getting better and better, isn't he? Or am I, imagining it? He's becoming not just a more consummate covering defensive midfield player, but he's also becoming stronger and more contributive going forward with the ball. And that was what he was doing against Derby. He was bringing it forward and he was making telling passes. He had a shot. I don't know if he had more than one shot, but he certainly had one shot. And it was a good shot. He found himself in a forward position just outside the box. He gave it a crack. And I think if it had been on target, it was just off target, it would have caused the keeper an awful lot of problems. So Andre Dazelle, he's an 8. And Devlin's an 8. And Blair, I think when he came on, it was difficult for him. And he still has it seems to me to have a little bit of lacking confidence? What do you think? He's clearly quick and he's clearly got the skill. He's got the hairstyle. Those things matter when you're young. But he's still not actually doing anything enough, rather, positive. He's doing some good things, but he's not quite actually creating or contributing anything that's particularly positive. So who's your man of the match? You tell me. Who's your man of the match? radiopompey@gmail.com. There are quite a few contenders. Schmidt made some great saves. Some really good saves. He also had some dodgy punches. If you're going to punch the ball, you've got to punch it right out of the area. You can't just get a flick on it with your knuckles. You know? Is he your man of the match? Was Matthews your man of the match? He took on Ajimang, who was a real handful. And there were occasions, actually, when Ajimang was going one-to-one with people like Jordan Williams. And that was rather reminiscent of that novelty boxing match that happened a few days ago between Anthony Joshua, who's 9'11", and some influencer guy with a silly beard who you could put in your pocket. And it looked a little bit like that. But everybody stood up to him really well. And everybody stood up to all their Derby counterparts really well. But man of the match for me, I'm happy if you disagree, but man of the match for me, he came on with about 20 minutes to go when we needed to shore up and keep that precious point. That could be so important going into a new year. Marlon Pack. Marlon Pack. He just brings so much to, not the party really, the family gathering if you like. He is calm. He's in the right place. He makes the right tackles. He makes the right interceptions. He passes the ball so well. He puts the ball not just towards the player that you need to have the ball sent to. He does it in such a way that's sensitive to the way the player needs the ball. He will pass it so that it will go 40 yards diagonally across out to the right, and the player will receive the ball 3 or 4 yards ahead of where he is so that he's already running onto it and getting up some speed so he can close down towards his opponent. Pack does that instinctively. It's a huge skill. Passing the ball is probably what football's all about. Passing it right. We've got plenty of players, and I'm not going to name names, who still are flaky with their little pass, their flick on the ball. They're giving it to the other guy, regardless of where he is and where he needs the ball and what he's going to do with it. Just give it him. It's not good enough. It's not what they do at Barcelona. And I'm not saying we're going to be Barcelona, of course, but we could be looking at tapes of Barcelona and the way that they construct moves in the advanced third of the pitch, and maybe wondering whether we should pass the ball a little bit more like that. So Marlon Pack for me was MOM. All in all, we built. We didn't build on the Millwall win. We built on the Blackburn win. We've got now 4 points off of 2 games, and towards that part of the league table where we have been for a little bit too long. That is good, solid stuff. It's a good point, a point we're happy with, and it could be a crucial point, but above all, we're now building back. And the transfer window hasn't started yet, and we know it's going to be a busy one. We know we're going to get some new faces, and that's always exciting, and hopefully they're going to make a huge contribution. And we might do this season what we did last season, which is really build on from the January window. That shows that the recruitment team know what they're doing, and the management team know what they're doing as well. So I think there's absolutely no reason to be anything else other than extremely enthusiastic about where we find ourselves this Saturday evening of Derby 1, Pompey 1.